can't take the playoffs for granted, man. You can't do it. And the excitement that I have for tomorrow to hopefully get back to the finals one day, you have a path, maybe unlikely, but still, you kick off the playoffs tomorrow against a team I think you're going to beat. You're at home. I know all the other stuff with the Cavs. I understand every bit of where they were at, the injuries that they faced, all that stuff. I get it. But Ryan, there's something about the playoffs that you can just wipe that away. I close the door. You are into the postseason. And all my focus, all my energy is now starting tomorrow on the Cavs to beat the Orlando Magic. There are several avenues in the way that I think they can do it. I'm not selling the Magic short on what they do. There's some important areas we're going to talk about. There's important players we got to talk about. But there's nothing like playoffs, man. And there's nothing like playoff basketball. I know football is great. Playoff baseball is a hell of an atmosphere. But playoff basketball is the one thing that we know in this town. This is the one thing that we know how to do here in the city of Cleveland. It's not with LeBron anymore, but it's still playoff basketball that starts tomorrow, baby. Man, am I ready to go. We got our boosts on big play ready to go. All fired up. We'll get to those matchups. We'll talk about some key players. Spencer Davies going to join us later in the show to continue the breakdown for the Magic and the Cavs. Guards, yeah! Let's go! Wait a minute. Did we hit a boost yesterday? Yes! That is how you start off the weekend. We got it all for you. We'll get to timeout. We'll get to the grid. We got morning update. A lot of Browns, a lot of guards, but of course, we kick things off with the Cavs this morning on a beautiful Friday edition right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Dude, not quite 24 hours. Was it 28 hours? 1 o'clock tomorrow. Cavs Magic, man. I just love it. I listen, I know it's been a long season for us. There's been a lot that's gone on. You got an opportunity tomorrow. And that's where I start this morning, Ryan. I'm kind of I'm setting all that aside. I'm setting that aside. Now, I'm going to run through the 4 games that we had against the Magic. You split them. Banchero had 42 in the 1. We got trends for the betting side of things with Typico. We'll get to that. But I start anew. I start refreshed with the Cleveland Cavaliers starting tomorrow when they take on the Magic. I think this week off has obviously been great for the players, for the team, to get Donovan Mitchell back to 100%, as he said this week. And I, as a fan, am going to do the same thing. It doesn't mean that we won't have tough conversations after all of it, whatever. But I am just going to be fully invested, and I'm starting tomorrow in this playoff run. I feel supremely confident that they're going to be able to beat the Magic. Now, you felt the same way against the Knicks, and I know there are people trying to hold on to that. I'm telling you, set it all aside. Set it all aside. Start right now with our show at 9 o'clock on Friday. Set it all aside. You want to instantly say set the injuries aside? I don't know if you just push it to the side, man. Just push it to the side. You got a really good look at this series. I know, the Celtics. I don't care. I don't care. I'm just going to be fully invested in this series starting tomorrow, sitting down to watch this team, and the excitement that, yes, you should win this series. The excitement that outside of Dean Wade, who missed practice this week, you're back to health. You are back to a team that you believe should be able to win this series. Focus on that. Don't focus on anything else. Don't think about the 7-game series. Don't, playing it all the way up. Don't think about the regular season. Ryan, I'm in starting tomorrow. And that's a nice kind of area to begin, in my opinion. I don't feel drugged down by everything that has gone on with this team. I hope that it can help them kind of understand where their deficiencies were last year or where they need to clean some things up from the regular season. I get it all. But I start on just an excitement level, man. There's nothing like playoff basketball, especially you get to start at home. That's going to be a big factor for tomorrow. I love the Cavs. It's a 4.5 spread for tomorrow. I've got a lot of trends to get to later, But I'm feeling so good about this team. I'm starting right here. It's like I just woke up and now I'm all of a sudden a Cavs fan, right? That's how I'm viewing the playoffs. Regular season be damned. We're here. We're in it. You're the 4 seed. You have the home court advantage. Let's take care of business. Let's get after these guys. Do not let tomorrow slip away. Set the tone for this series. I know the Magic are probably sitting there having the same conversation. Oh, you know what they did last year. You know the physicality part of it. Bring it. Bring it on. Let's go. Start it out tomorrow, right here at home. Set the tone and understand the Magic should not be able to sniff this series. They shouldn't be able to. I want the Cavs to sweep these 2 home games, come back from Orlando up 3-1. That's it. That's what I'm going to ask for, and it starts with tomorrow. I don't want to hear about anything else. I know the Cavs have gone through so many things. It starts tomorrow, and man, am I excited. Let's go.
Yeah, Matt, that's the funny part about this whole Cavs season in a nutshell. If we flash back, let's say we go back to October, and I told you, fast forward all the way to April. Playoffs are about to start. Cavs are a 4 seed. They got home court advantage. They were game back from the 2 seed, and we're going into playoffs with a healthy team. Donovan Mitchell's 100%. Everybody is fine. You'd be pretty damn happy with that outcome.
I would agree.
And you'd be pretty optimistic. And here we are today with that exact layout.
It is. And the thing is, again, about who you avoided or this or that, you're in this. You're in it, and you're facing a team that, again, I think you should be able to take care of it. So our question is already up at Matt Fontana Show. Follow us there. Call your shot for the Cavs Magic. Cavs in 4 or 5, 6, 7, or somehow the Orlando Magic win the series. I ain't voting the last one. I'll tell you that one. I'm taking the Cavs in 6. I think it's borderline a gentleman's sweep, but it's 6 at the max, I think. I kind of like the Cavs in 5. But I'm going to take the Cavs in 6. And there is that element of, again, like I mentioned, a little bit of what happened last year. There were so many people uber confident us playing the Knicks. I think that is something, I said, set everything aside. But the positive I'm taking out of that, Ryan, I think the Cavs learned a lot. I think the Cavs, JB, his squad, everybody that was a part of that understands what screwed up last year and what they need to do to avoid it. And that's why I think tomorrow is so important. If there is that boogeyman, so to speak, hanging over the Cavs and that little worry, erase that tomorrow. Erase that with your first game at home, and you get that win tomorrow. I feel a collective sigh of relief. Maybe more from the fan base, but certainly from the players to exercise that demon a little bit and to say, we're in this thing now. You can focus on this series, not what happened in the past. That's why I think tomorrow is a vitally important game to prove to maybe the fan base, but also the Cavs themselves, this is a different squad. This is a different team. You've brought in guys, most notably probably Max Strus, who have been in NBA Finals. You've brought in guys that have been to the playoffs before. The return of Tristan Thompson, right? You telling me that Thompson at one point this week didn't sit down with the team and maybe tell some stories of what it was like going to the playoffs with LeBron, going to the NBA Finals, and saying, guys, this is what it takes. This is what our mentality has to be to get through this. Every game matters. Every game is important, but this is how we need to approach things. And if we approach things the right way, we are going to take care of business here. It's not so simple as just saying we're going to sweep on out Orlando and they're hurt and they suck. Not at all. They're at full strength as well. They're ready to go. And there are some things I'm going to look at, and we'll talk about this morning as well, about what you got to watch with Orlando. But there's so much on the Cavs side of things. I do hope they learned a little bit from last year, but to have that confidence to start things out strong tomorrow, exercise some of those demons, and get after it in this series. That's really what I'm hoping for this Cavs team to do. And I sent the tweet out this morning. I don't take these things for granted. I don't take playoffs for granted. The magic of when the Browns make it, we know how special Progressive Field can be when the Guardians are in it. The Cavs, though, that is the one thing that we know. That is the one thing for a good chunk of Cleveland sports fans. You know what playoff basketball looks like. And it's different because when it was LeBron, bro, I went to games early in the series. Like, I'm talking about game one, round one. It wasn't even full because Cavs fans go, well, I'm going to wait for the Eastern Conference Finals because we have LeBron, because we have Kyrie, because we have Kevin Love. We're going to be there at the end of it. This one, it's still special. It's still special because it is the playoffs. And I think it's a little different, obviously, because you don't feel that, I want to say, arrogance that you're going to be walking your way to the finals. But we know how to do playoffs here. We know what playoffs can be for this Cavs team and the home court advantage that the Cavs have built, because I do think it's there. I really do. And it'll show up tomorrow. It'll show up. I know people that are going. I know people that are looking for tickets to be able to get in there tomorrow. The excitement is there. And, man, I welcome it back. I welcome it back. And I'll tell you this, for as long as I'm a fan, for maybe as long as I'm doing this, you'll never hear me throw away the playoffs. You will never hear me say, oh, well, it's just a formality here. It's something special. And it makes you appreciate it even more when you were at the top of the mountain, you were down in the valley, and now you're trying to get your way back up. And it's exciting, man. I love it. I'm so jacked for tomorrow. The only thing that's a little bit of a downer is the start time. We kick things off tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And you and I talked about this the other day, Ryan. You set the rest of your day up, right? Where you're going to sit down. You got 4 playoff games. You got the Guardians at night. I mean, the rest of your day is going to be told by about 3:30, 4 o'clock tomorrow. I'm feeling good. I think it's going to be a great day. And then you can be off and just sit back and enjoy the rest of the games. Betting with Typicos we're going to be doing. But the 1 o'clock start, I just wish it was like 3:30. There's something about, I think they could have shifted everything back 2 hours, but they want that late game a little bit earlier. So 1 o'clock, really, that is my only downer for tomorrow, is that we're at 1 o'clock.
See, I'm fine with 1 o'clock.
Okay.
I don't see the difference of it being 1 versus 3 o'clock. Like, if anything, you just get to start partying earlier.
I guess.
Hopefully.
People be tailgating. I know people will be up ready to go for it. That's how we go. So let's take a look at this matchup here for the Cavs and the Magic. So again, our Twitter question is up, at Matt Fontana Show. Call your shot for this series. I'm going Cavs in 6. Ryan, please cast your vote. What do you got?
Yeah, yesterday I said Cavs in 5, but I kind of flipped. I'm going to go Cavs in 6.
All right, join me over there.
That way I can, if they do go in 5, I'll just be a little bit pleasantly surprised.
So we go back to the regular season, which we bring this up, and I've got betting trends, and I've got some things with the Magic to keep our eye on. I say all this to say, how much can you really take away from the regular season? I don't know. You are missing some guys in some of these games, but let's take a look. 4 games over the regular season, Cavs and Magic. We go back to December 6th. We beat them 121 to 111. That game was marked by Paolo Banchero scoring 42. The other nice thing about that was you had 35 from Mitchell, 26 from Darius Garland, 16 from Evan Mobley, 17 from Max Strus, who was 4 out of 8 from behind the arc. So that was game 1. And that seems like ages ago, which I understand. You go to game 2, it was Orlando getting the win down in Orlando just 5 days later. That was 104 to 94. The thing about that game was you did not have Evan Mobley in that game. 36 from Darius Garland, 22 from Donovan Mitchell. You only had one of their players score in double digits. That was Tristan Thompson. That game was more of spread out there for Orlando. 20 from Banchero. Wagner had 19, 15, and 12 from Jalen Suggs in that. Joe Ingles had is he still there?
Mm-hmm.
He had 12 off the bench. I feel like sneakily, because he used to play for the Pacers a lot, I feel like Joe Ingles always shows up against the Cavs for some reason.
Yeah,
Don't know why.
He's a vet.
Yeah. Game 3, we got the win 126 to 99. Smoked them in that game. For the Cavs, Mitchell 25, Allen 14, but that was your Sam Merrill 26 points off the bench game. That was really nice to get the win there. Held Banchero to 18, and you finish it out there. And then the final game, which was in February, late February, 116-109 for the Magic. That was here over at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. That one was a freaky game because Mo Wagner had 22 off the bench. And then for the Cavs, good in that you had 18, 18, and 18 from Allen, Strus, and Garland. All 4 of your starters scored at least 14 points, but you didn't have Donovan Mitchell in that game. So really, if I wanted to take the true game of the regular season. So again, we split with them. And I would tell you on a 4.5-point spread, you had a 10-point game, a 10-point game, a 27-point game, and a 7-point game. These have not been close either way. And again, you split 2 and 2. The issue is the game that is probably the most relatable for the fact of the Cavs had everybody is the one that was all the way back on December 6th. And that was the game that you won 121 to 111. You had 35 from Mitchell, 26 from Garland, and Banchero went off for 42. So there's kind of a dichotomy to say that was the furthest away game, but it was also the one that the Cavs were the healthiest and maybe gives you the best as JB sat down to try to figure out what this series, what this game tomorrow was going to be. That's maybe your best indicator, but Ryan, that was so far ago, it's hard to look to. The one thing that I will take out from that game is this. Do you approach it to let Paolo Banchero score his points and say, we're going to stop Suggs, we're going to stop the Wagner twins, or brothers, not twins, but brothers? Is that maybe your recipe? Then I also think about Evan Mobley. What is Evan Mobley's number one job in this series going to be? Lock down Paolo Banchero. He is built to do that. They're similar body types. Yeah, I'd have to admit Banchero's probably a step or two ahead maybe on the offensive game, but Evan Mobley is a perennial all-defensive player. That is one of the matchups. I want to talk about some of the other matchups coming up here. But as I look back on the games from the regular season, it's telling me take the Cavs on the spread because they're probably going to cover that. And I look at saying, what are the Magic going to do? The one, going back to that game, what I'm talking about, do you know the Magic were 2 of 23 from behind the arc in that game? Some of the things we're going to look at. Number one, 3-point shooting. The Magic don't do it, and they don't do it often. This is a team that's going to get in the paint. They like their mid-range game. Talking about Banchero and Wagner. They're not going to shoot a lot of threes. But then I think about what the Cavs were able to do in that game, Brian. They shot 42% from behind the arc. One of the big keys that I'm going to start watching tomorrow is the 3-point shooting between the Magic and the Cavs. Are the Cavs the best 3-point shooting team? No. Have they improved from where they were last year? Well, yeah, it'd be hard not to. They were so bad. I'm watching that a lot for this game tomorrow to see how much we're shooting, how much we can limit them. They don't really like to shoot threes. I think that's a huge advantage to the Cavs.
Yeah, and this is where everything kind of does come back to a player like Darius Garland, because we mentioned if Jalen Suggs is going to be the primary defender on him, either him or Mitchell.
It'd probably be on Mitchell.
Yeah, it probably will be on Mitchell. But either way, who was ever guarding Darius Garland, we know the Magic that's how they got to the playoffs, is they're a very good defensive team. Now, it all comes back to Darius Garland, because if he's not making threes, that hurts, because JB's then you're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to bring in a guy like Merrill. You're going to have to give George Niang minutes. But it all comes back because if Darius is making his threes and he's being a contributor on offense, then you can sacrifice a little bit of shooting and size and get another great defender in a Coro out there who can also help lock down Banchero. But to go back to your question, or not really question, but talking about Banchero, letting him do the damage, yeah, absolutely. You mentioned that 10-point win, Paolo dropped 42. I don't care. He can go out there and drop 50. Just limit everybody else. If he's going to make the tough twos and make it hard on you, I mean, that's what a great NBA player does. Then it just comes down to limiting everybody else. And if the Cavs can do that, then they're going to be successful in this series.
Another thing I'm looking at is turnovers. So on the season, Orlando is the third best team in forcing turnovers. Here's the crazy thing, right? Would you not sit here and say the Cavs have a turnover problem? There are some games that we see and we're just like, oh my God. Pulled it up this morning. We're actually middle of the pack in turnovers, only 12.7. Here's another funny thing. Orlando turns the ball over actually more than we do.
I think we're just prone to seeing a lot of costly in the wrong moment.
That's a great point. That's a great point. It's not just that you have three. It's that they all came in the last 3 minutes of the game, and they were crucial possessions that turned it over. So that was an area that I was looking at, because a lot of people are going to jump on Orlando and their defense, right? The points they give up, they're top 5. Oh, by the way, the Cavs are 8th in the NBA giving up defense. So really, this should be a defensive matchup. Tomorrow's 207.5. Take the over. You want a lock for tomorrow? You take the over. I'll tell you why in just a little bit. But again, they play good defense, so do the Cavs. And you would say, all right, they're going to really try to be stingy on forcing turnovers. Ryan, I had a little positivity to say I didn't think the Cavs' turnovers were all that bad. I thought it'd be a lot worse. But they're middle of the pack. You still got to hold on the basketball, though. You still, that's something that can pop up at the wrong times. You're 100% correct. Let's talk matchups. Number one for me, without a doubt, is Banchero versus Mobley. And what Evan Mobley getting feisty. And I'm going to add Jared Allen to that because we talk about the physicality. Paolo Banchero is a very physical player. Get after him. Get Tristan Thompson in there and get some hacks on him. I don't mind saying that. I don't care. Get him in there and be physical. My biggest matchup for this series, player-wise, is definitely going to be Paolo Banchero versus Evan Mobley. That's one that I think could turn things. Now, Mobley's got to be able to score a little bit, and I just don't have – I can't have Banchero going off for 40, but try to make things really hard on him. That's going to lean towards the Cavs. Number 2 for me is Jalen Suggs versus Donovan Mitchell. Jalen Suggs, a very good perimeter defender. If he's going to make things tough on Mitchell, who I assume is going to bring the ball up the court the vast majority of this series, that's it for me. You know, Wagner, we don't necessarily have that guy for him unless JB flips and he puts Evan Mobley on him and you put Jared Allen on Paolo Banchero. That is another thing that I'm going to kind of watch to see how JB's got his defense lined up and ready to go.
But that's also what I'm saying in terms of if Darius Garland is able to hit his threes and give us that offensive production, if Donovan Mitchell is getting doubled, if he's getting harassed by Jalen Suggs, that comes back to if he's hitting him, then you can afford to put an Isaac Okoro there, who is shooting at a high three-point shooter.
I'm selling him a little bit. Though. Yeah.
His stats this year against Paolo, while there's not a great amount of a sample size there, I think he's holding him to like a 20% shooting clip, which we know Isaac Okoro, that's what he's there for.
He is going to be somebody that, because you talk about this too. When I think about Orlando and we talk about the matchups, all right, the best player in this series is Donovan Mitchell. The next best player in this series is probably Paolo Banchero. Who is the third best player in this series? Is it Franz Wagner? He averages 20 points per game. Only 5 rebounds, which is a little crazy from him. But then you talk Garland versus Franz, maybe Allen. Like, who would you take, Franz Wagner or Jared Allen?
Well,
different games, right? That's the biggest issue. You got 2 completely different games. All right, even wash it there. Then you're up to Jalen Suggs, Donovan or Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, kind of close there. But then after that, Cole Anthony, Carter, Mo Wagner. Then I'm starting to look more at Max Strus and George Niang and some of these other guys to be like, that is actually where I'm going to say the Cavs have the edge. So it's not this like runaway thing. It's not this, the Cavs have like 6 of the 7 best players in this series or anything like that. But I kind of look at it from overall, I think the Cavs have the better roster. Not by a long shot, but I think decently.
Well, I would say, Donovan 1, hands down. Paolo 2, hands down. Those little locks, that's not even close. But then outside of that, you talk about Franz Wagner, then I'm going to Evan Mobley, honestly. Especially if we're going to win this series. Evan Mobley, I would say, has to be the third best player.
Let's talk a little more about Paolo Banchero because I want to pull up what he did against the Cavs in their 4 games. So, again, this season, 23 points per game for Banchero. In his 4 games against the Cavs, even with that 42-point performance, he only averaged his season average, 23 points per game. He had 6 rebounds, which was less than his season average, less on his assists. Cavs are able to lock him down a little bit, relative, because, again, I say you scored 42, but only averaged the 23 against the Cavs in the 4 games. Some of the other things that I'm looking at for this series, too, we talked about the physicality. I need the Cavs to bring it. And you're also, say what you want, you have the coaching advantage. Jamal Mosley's never coached a team as a head coach in the playoffs. JB Bickerstaff at least has done that. The thing is, Jamal Mosley's a defensive guy, and that has been the mark of the Magic. That's why the Magic have been so tough, is playing on that defense. Let me give you some trends for this game before we catch our break. So the over-under is only 207, and I said slam the over. Here's why. Cavs, 9 of their last 12 games, over has hit. 8 of their last 9 games at home, the over has hit. And 4 out of their last 6 games against the Magic, the over have hit. Even for Orlando, the over is the play. They have hit 5 out of their last 7 games with the over and their last 5 games on the road. So again, I like the Cavs minus the 4.5, but I really love that over 207. I love that. You normally say playoffs equal defense, and maybe that's why that number is so low. Again, two good defensive teams I get. But the trends tell you, slam the over. Some of the other trends, I'll start with Orlando. Just 4-8 against the spread their last 12 games entering the playoffs. 2-4 straight up in their last 6. And how about this? They are just 1-5 in their last 6 games over there at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. You flip it over for the Cavs, not much better. Just 4-10 against the spread their last 14 games. 2-4 straight up in their last 6. And again, they have owned Orlando here at home. So I like it a lot from the Cavs, man. I like a lot with where we're at. Last 3 games spread for the Cavs and the Magic. So the Magic did win the 2 out of the last 3, but again, season split 2-2. Average points scored 110 for the Cavs, 106 for Orlando. So again, that would tell you easy on the over here. The Cavs 48% from the floor. The Magic 48% from the floor in their last 3 games. Cavs out rebounding them. And the 3-point shooting is kind of weird for the fact of the Magic shot 20 less threes in the last 3 games against the Cavs, but they hit almost as many. So they're shooting less, but there were some real struggles with the Cavs 3-point shooting from time to time. You could get me a little bit of Sam Merrill for this game. You could try to tell me that this might be a little bit with Sam Merrill to figure it out. So it's going to be exciting. I can't wait for tomorrow, man. It's going to be so great. We got you locked. We're going to talk to Spencer Davies a little bit later. Spin Davies on Twitter is Spencer's follow. So we'll talk to him in hour 2 coming up about this matchup, some other things I want to dive into. Continue to vote on our Twitter question, at Matt Fontana Show. Call your shot for the Cavs Magic series. We'll get more into the Cavs coming up, but we got some guards we got to discuss. We'll get to our boost. We got a little bit of the Browns. We'll hear back from Andrew Berry. We got it all for you here on a Friday edition here on Fontana Big Play. No, they're posting it. We'll get to our Guardians boost later. We hit it yesterday. Cookie was a little dicey. Got it, though. Was it Jimenez had a couple of hits?
Yeah, lead off Jimenez.
And then again, the under. Manuel Clase, man, shut it down. We'll get to our boost later. We do have a Guardians boost for today, but then we also have a lot of Cavs boosts up on Tipico for tomorrow. So we'll get you locked and loaded for that, folks. Tipico is where you want to bet. They got it all for you. Fontana 100 is the code when you sign up. And you'll be able to place your bets for all the NBA playoffs. We have a great promotion going. You place a $25 same-game parlay on any of the NBA playoff games, you will get a bonus credit for every 3-point shot made on the game. So you want my pick for tomorrow? Cavs over, Cavs spread. And if you want to mix in some other player props, do it. Place your bet on that. Potential for you to get those payouts for every 3-point shot made. We got the play-in tournament games tonight. We'll get to our picks for that a little bit later. We got Guardians. Everything you need. NHL playoffs. I placed a bet this morning on our guy Justin Lauer to go out there and win at the Fontana. I think the core, whatever it is. I know he's leading. So I put $10 on him this morning to get it done there with friend of Big Play, Justin Lauer, to get it done. The golf is there, folks. Tipico, everything that you need. The boosts, the props, they're there. Fontana 100 for the code. Here's what you do. When you sign up as a new customer, put that code Fontana 100 in. Deposit and bet $25. Oh, wait a minute. There's your other opportunity to double up. Make that $25 a same-game parlay on an NBA playoff game. You'll get the bet credits for every 3-point shot made, and you'll get your $100 in bonus credits when you use that code and when you sign up. Terms and conditions apply. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Double up. Cashback rewards. The best in the industry. The best in the industry. I just hit one of my parlay ones this week. Tipico. Fontana 100 is the code. Oh, Ryan, you wizard! That's some good karma for us today. Let's go. Guardians going to go for 2 in a row on our boost. Lay it out first, Ryan. What do we got? And the total boost.
Alrighty, well, we're rocking with the brothers today, Matt.
Yeah.
Over 1 hit for Bo Naylor, 1 RBI for Josh Naylor, and Guardians -1.5.
I love it.
Tipico boosted it up to +438.
I love it. Get signed up right now. I'm going to do it for everybody. Here we go on Tipico. Boom. Done. Get it done in the break. Get your bets in with us on Tipico using that code Fontana100. Let's catch our break. I want to talk some more Guardians, and we'll hear from Andrew Berry. He spoke yesterday at his press availability. I guess I got as close as I could to the restructure question with Watson. We'll hear from that. We got plenty of Browns, Guards, Cavs. We got it all for you on a Friday edition. Fontana Show. Big play. Stay with us.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
It's just, that's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yep.
Welcome to Big Play, a sports media team that started back in 2014, and now we're not in a garage. Look at us, incorporating some of Cleveland's favorite sports personalities, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland. Coming to you live from the shores of Lake Erie and Burke Lakefront Airport, join Team Big Play for all the best sports talk in Ohio. Check us out on social media at Big Play, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland.
Anthony Schlegel, just how physical he was. You know, you saw the girth and the power and everything he was bringing to the table, especially when he was a nice beefy 255 playing middle linebacker.
We were called soft last year. You don't want to be soft, especially when you come to the playoffs. So that's going to be a process throughout this season of establishing us as a harder team here in the
How does an Ohioan build the perfect parlay?
Who's got something? Big guys looking for long odds. The kids in Columbus are covering better than anyone, and at even odds. If it's even, I'm leaving. Listen, our championship DVD starts today, all right? Dude, I just got an invite to a Cincy playoff watch party. Shut up. Cincy, State, Cleveland, the perfect parlay. I'm a genius.
For the best odds on Ohio sports, bet with your cojones.
It is Spanish, dummy.
Bet with Typical Sportsbook.
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
Welcome back, Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Drops follow, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch as well, at Matt Fontana Show. We're all there. A lot of Cavs we'll get to as well. Again, hour 2, Spencer Davies going to join us, get a little insight on this Cavs Magic game matchup for tomorrow for the series. We got it all. But let's dive into some Guardians. I got some Browns waiting from Andrew Barry in just a second. Guards, bats, man. Again, you get out to that lead yesterday. A couple of bad pitches here and there. Dude, Cade Smith falling off the mound. Another balk. Find me a time where, let alone twice in a week, let alone twice in a season, that a pitcher balks home a run. Now, the one on Lively was a bunch of bull crap. And I know everybody sent the video out of Nestor Cortez. And like, how's that not a balk? But whatever. Cade Smith fell. It was raining. And I got to tell you, because we had the under, I was like, call the game. It's raining. Call the game. It's over. It's it. It's done. So a few mistakes by the Guardians yesterday, but we said the stats yesterday. We have one of the best bullpens in baseball right now. So a couple of mistakes here and there. You know my biggest takeaway from yesterday, Ron? Scrappy Carlos Carrasco. That's what I want to see from this team. We know that they have a couple of things, what they're going to do now, the stuff with Tristan McKenzie and a ligament in his elbow and all this other kind of stuff. You got to have some of these guys step up as your fifth starter. And I'm fine with Carrasco. That line yesterday, 5 2/3, 2 runs, good. That's it. That's all I'm going to ask out of him. I think you mostly ask that out of any starter, right? You get the win, give up a couple runs over 5 2/3, you're in for that all day. The thing is, you got a couple of guys that maybe you'd ask that of. You're missing your ace. You're missing the top rotation, just blow these guys away. He's going to get a win more often than not type of guy. You're going to have to be scrappy with your rotation right now. But the fact that you're continuing to hit, top of the lineup getting it done yesterday, you're manufacturing runs. I love where this team is at, Ryan. I do. And even yesterday, trying to give it away, Clase shutting the door is never a question. I love where this team is at. I'm happy with yesterday's win. I am.
Yeah, it's been super impressive. Probably for me, the most impressive part about this whole season, outside of the sticks coming alive, which is great, has been our bullpen. And that's to nobody's surprise. They've kept us in games. They've won us games. Clase's been great outside of a few little ends there, but we ended up winning those games that he kind of quote-unquote blew, so that was fine. But it's the fact that our bullpen has been able to come alive. I mean, we're yet to get 7 full innings out of a starter yet this year. I'm waiting for that to happen. I don't know when that'll be, but it kind of seems like that's just going to be the MO of our season this year because we lost Shane Bieber. Maybe Gavin Williams will be that guy to do it when he comes back, but our bullpen has been absolutely amazing for guys that have been a little bit underwhelming, like the likes of Logan Allen, Tanner Bybee, and now this Tristan McKenzie news. The bullpen's going to have to keep doing what they're doing. Hunter Gaddis is bringing out the Gat, man. He looks amazing.
He looks so much better now that he's just in that bullpen role, man. That was a good move right there.
Cade Smith, you mentioned, came back to earth a little bit. He was amazing. Maybe Boston just got his number. I don't know, but I expect him to bounce back. And then other guys. I mean, it's been absolutely incredible, and I guess that's credit to Carl Willis and credit to Stephen Vogt, who have been able to navigate that. They've done an absolutely incredible job so far.
I'm asking for a sweep of the A's. They are lowly. They're bad. They're not good. You're at home. Get a little momentum going. Get a little go. I think they have had plenty, certainly. Go ahead and sweep out the A's. Go there, and you start tonight by saying, we are a much better baseball team than you. We're going to show you that. So it's going to be an exciting weekend of sports. Not only Cavs, but the Guardians, which I love. All right, let's get to the Browns. And Andrew Berry spoke yesterday during our show. So we yesterday tried to navigate through some of the quotes that he had. And I kept sitting there and go, where's the restructure question from Watson? And it's not that I would expect Andrew Berry to give every little detail on where he's at with Deshaun Watson's contract, but it's like, I felt like that was a miss. I really feel like that was a miss yesterday. So with that being said, Ryan, we got about as close as we could get to a Watson contract question yesterday. So there's a few other things that we'll get to, but we start with that one. So shout out to Jeff Shudell. Jeff asked a question about assessing the Watson trade, and he said that Jeff's question to AB was, Andrew, you viewed this as a 10-year horizon. So are you talking about another contract with Watson when you say 10-year horizon? Here's Andrew Berry talking about the deal, audio, video, courtesy of the Cleveland Browns.
A 10-year horizon.
I'm talking about as I think the one thing that's pretty unique about the quarterback position in our sport is, when you find a good one, they're typically with your franchise for a long period of time. So when I say 10 years, maybe I didn't mean it quite as literally as you're taking it, but for a very long period of time because, that player at that position, can really anchor your franchise and anchor your organization on the field. So as we think about it, it's less about, a yearly fluctuation, but very much with a long-term focus. Because look, quarterbacks, they're not all Tom Brady playing until they're 45, but quarterbacks in this league, they play to their mid and late 30s, and that's an incredibly valuable player to have.
It's Andrew Berry, sound courtesy of the Browns. He's right on what he's saying, but you don't know if you have that guy. Again, the whole essence of the question was the 10-year view of Watson with this restructure that I'm just all not up in arms about, but it's just a big thing that I'm looking at. Ryan, that works if you have a franchise quarterback. We just don't have the answer to that question yet. And I think that's got to weigh on Andrew Berry. How could it not? It's the one question we all need answered. That works if you know you have your franchise quarterback. I don't know the answer to that question. So in hypothetical, yeah, that's what you would do. If you had Deshaun Watson come here and he put up 2 years like Patrick Mahomes or like any of these other top quarterbacks, we're not having a debate. We know that. You know that. I know that. It was a nice sidestep of the question. Where basically Andrew Berry was saying, yeah, when we traded and did the deal with Deshaun Watson, we viewed this as a 10-year or a multiple-year thing. There's no way they can't sit here today and not wonder if that is still the plan, which is, again, why I don't think they've done the restructure yet. So it was a good job. AB's great at not, giving non-answers and all that kind of stuff. But what he's saying is, yeah, the plan is still that, but we're not enacting that, in my opinion. You don't have an extension for him yet. You're not restructuring yet because you still just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in a hypothetical world where for some reason Andrew Berry had to make the decision before this season started and what Deshaun does, if he would extend him, if he for some reason had to do that, of course, everybody would be screaming at him, don't do it, and he probably wouldn't do it. But the reality is we do get this a year. And let's say Deshaun Watson does go ball out, Matt. I did want to ask you this. Obviously, you're in year 3 of a 5-year deal, so I don't think no matter what, an extension after this season, would you say, it would probably be next season, right?
Unless he goes out there and plays really well.
And that's what I'm saying. So I wanted to ask you, and maybe this is a tough question for you to answer right now, what's that bar look like? Let's say somehow Deshaun Watson rights this ship. He makes that contract look worthy. What's that bar? Is it an AFC championship game? Is it a Super Bowl appearance? Is it a ring? What does that bar look like for you?
Okay, I think it's multiple level. Your question is right on. You're asking, what do you need to see from Deshaun Watson this year to prove that he's the guy?
And I just want to preface this. I ask you this because right now, the idea of extending Watson, it does sound far-fetched. It does seem idiotic because he hasn't lived up nearly to that deal. But there is still a reality, and that's getting lost in it, that he does bounce back from this injury and return to form. And that's what everybody's hoping for.
Right, we all hope for that. First, number one is he plays 17 games or 16 if they sit him in the last one. My number one thing is he's got to play. I need to have him on the field. Then it is certainly the play and how he looks, and we'll all watch that. But then I think a playoff win. If you really wanted to boil it down, you would say, I know I can make the playoffs and lose with this team. We did that without Deshaun Watson. So what I need is Deshaun Watson to prove he's the guy to win a playoff game. He's the guy to not only get us there, but then for us to win a playoff game. So and I think that's where it starts. I'd like an AFC championship appearance. That'd be nice. Because again, when I start making comparisons, right or wrong, different teams year over year, I get it. I know I can get to the second round of the playoffs too. I did that with Baker Mayfield. What I thought Deshaun Watson was here for was AFC Championship and Super Bowl. And people might instantly come back and say that's unfair to put that on him, with Ryan basically thinking about this as his first season. If you really want to look at it from that standpoint too, this is almost like it's Deshaun Watson's first season for the Browns. And I've been waiting for 2 damn years.
People hang you from the rafters for saying that.
I'm just saying, it's almost like this is year 1 again. Over and over and over again. We threw away the first year because of the suspension. You throw away last year because of the injuries. It's almost like they've paid, what, $60 million for him to just now start? To have a cap hit of $60 million this year for just now to start? It's kind of what it is. So the bar for me is at very minimum a second-round playoff team. Or go ahead and get the bye and walk your way to the second round. That's fine too. But then the money comes in. Yeah, how much do you want to restructure or what the deal looks like? That's where I think it starts. So AB saying, yeah, of course, the idea is still there. The plan that we had is still there. We just need Deshaun Watson to come up on the other side of this plan.
And it's just people don't like to hear that. But the reality,
it is what it is.
But the reality is, it is what it is, and they got to stick to that plan. You can't just reverse course.
No, you're right. 100%. At this point, you don't deviate from the plan.
Now, next year, we're having a whole different conversation.
Trust me, buddy. We'll be there. You're right. You're 100% right. And we'll have plenty to chew on after what happens. I get it. There's no point. You didn't see Ryan. He literally just went up and went like that, right? I get it. But don't they cancel each other out, Ryan?
Well, I can't cross my fingers.
I know.
Oh, did I tell you that?
Yeah. I think it's one of those.
That's why I had to drop sign language.
Really?
Well, because
I guess
I can't do my finger.
I took 2 years of sign language. I wish I remembered more than I don't. I took 2 years in college. I thought it'd be cool.
I can just do my name. That's about it.
I can't do anything. You're better off than me on that. But with Watson, there's no point in deviating from the plan right now. Now, are they not deviating by not restructuring him at this point? A little bit. A little bit.
Deviating, I'd say
it's a change.
Preparing for a potential emergency.
But I'm just saying, if they thought when they first traded for him and what they all expected, you just thought that you were going to keep doing this and keep going and keep re-signing. There is a little plan deviation right now, which I like. I'm on board with it. Don't get me wrong. I'm all in on this. There's a little plan deviation at this point. Where you go from here, you're keeping your options open. And I am all for that. But for Barry, And again, I couldn't be there. Like, I get it. Those are really the only, like, roster type of questions. You know, they asked him about his shoulder. Barry mentioned about contracts that he won't discuss them in this setting. I'm just not. And that's the thing. I'd love to have AB here on the show. I'd love to give him a little truth serum, a.k.a. whiskey, and go, what would you do? What are you doing? And you want to know his honest answer, Ryan? We got to wait and see. We got to wait and see. Now, the restructure part of it, that is not a wait and see thing. That is not a wait and see thing. I'm reading it. If you were going to restructure Watson, you would have done it already. Now, you can restructure him in the fall, which is even what Jack is talking about, Jack Duffin from OBR, because then you get the cap space to roll over. But then you're rolling over just to eat up Watson again next year? I really think, I'll tell you what. Take out how Watson has played to this point. Take all of it out. You're actually in a really good spot to eat some of this money right now. Most everybody is paid up. There's not too many pressing contracts. You could look at it and say, Deshaun Watson won 2 straight Super Bowls. We're still going to eat a chunk of his contract this offseason because now's a good time to do it. Now's a brilliant time to do it. Good. Maybe that's it. Take the play out of it. It's just, hey, man, timing was perfect on this to take a little chunk out of this contract right now, to eat a little bit of this. So I'll approach it from that standpoint. Then you add in how he's played and how things have looked. It makes this even more sense. To the draft, this is Andrew Berry yesterday talking about not having those first-round picks for a couple of years and kind of, has this been tough? Has it been hard for you? The draft, the less excitement, all that. Here's Andrew Berry yesterday talking about not having first-round picks for a couple of years. Video, audio, courtesy of the Browns.
It really hasn't been that different, Scott, in terms of how we prepare. Where it's probably been most different, it's just been a slower Thursday night. But in terms of how we think about building the board or how we think about evaluating prospects or, managing our picks, that really hasn't fundamentally changed.
And that's how you got to approach it. We're going into, you still got to get every player ready to go and understand this. If anything, to try to pull a positive out of it, it's a little easier. You don't need to waste your time on Dallas Turner, right? You don't need to waste your time on guys that you know will be gone in that first round, let alone the top guys and the quarterbacks and all that kind of stuff. It kind of narrows your field of view on this. And the Browns, whether or not they trade that pick, the aggressiveness that we've seen from Andrew Berry, maybe the push to go up in the draft a little bit, I don't know. It kind of narrows your field of view, which is good. You can focus in on guys that you think are going to be there around 54, start maybe making some more moves there at 54. I just wonder the thirst of Andrew Berry to get more picks. Or do you say, you know what? This is the last year where we're deficient in picks. Let's just get through it. Your team's pretty built. And then next year we get after it. And next year you really start getting back into the draft. Your team is built. Your team is built for this season. Still want a receiver, which we'll hear from Andrew Berry on receivers in just a second. Still want a guy at 54 as a receiver, but I think it helps that the Browns can be aggressive. They have some more picks that they can make some moves. I still think they're just going to stay at 54. Potential trade up, but I think they're just going to stay there, and that's fine, Ryan. I'm all for it. So to Barry's point about not having the picks, it doesn't change too much. Yeah, if anything, it makes things a little easier, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you used the analogy yesterday. I think it was of climbing the mountain. The excitement level is never going to go away, whether your first pick is a third rounder, let alone a second rounder, right? There's always still guys that make an impact there. And you mentioned, our roster right now, the fact that it is built does give us an advantage. We aren't so thirsty for a first rounder where we need to draft a guy that's going to come out and play week 1 for us. No, we have that luxury of not needing that right now. And that's reflected in the fact that we were able to go to the playoffs without Deshaun Watson. That just showed the stability and credit to Andrew Berry, who went and got those veterans, even the backups that have been able to come in and play due to the massive amount of injuries. But and I mean, if the scenario we talked about where these mocks have 14, 15 receivers going before the Browns, I mean, you're not just going to sit there just to take a receiver. If there's nobody you like, use that ammunition, get a little more ammo there. So I think they're in a really good spot to do what they see fit best.
Speaking of wide receivers, final thing from Andrew Berry yesterday, the question about these receivers in this draft class is supposed to be pretty stacked. There's going to be good guys that potentially fall down to you. Here's AB talking about the receivers and the depth that he's seeing at that position in this draft. Thank you to the Browns for the video and the audio.
Yeah, I actually do think that, if you think about maybe the last decade versus 10 years into the future, I do think that you'll see more volume and quality, at that position. I think it has it's a direct effect of just really how the game is played, really at the lower levels, right? The proliferation of 7-on-7 football and youth football. Now in high school, kids are throwing the ball 30 times a game. You look at the advancement of spread football in college, and then even if you think in our game, I think call it anywhere upwards from 65 to 70% of the game is played in 11 personnel, 1 back, 1 tight end, 3 receivers, and so I think a lot of the top athletes at the lower levels are going to that position, and it makes sense because we're in a passing league and we're in a passing sport, and so I think that trend will probably hold.
2 things. If he thinks that trend is going to hold, there is no rush because there will be another guy next year and there'll be another guy a year after that. It is where everybody's going in football. Nobody want to play running back anymore. Everybody wants to be a wide receiver. The other issue is then how do you find your tackles and your defensive ends and your corners, right? With this draft, that is just going to see an obscene amount of receivers, an obscene amount of offensive players, right? Your first 7 picks are going to be all offensive players. Probably 4 quarterbacks, 2 receivers, and an offensive tackle. You're going that way. So I think there's a part to say you want to strike while the iron is hot. We're in this right now. Get after it. Get a guy. But you also say if it's going to go this way, well, we'll find somebody later. And then I come back to the real need of a receiver. Because I was talking to somebody a little while ago, Ryan, that was making the case that Jerry Jeudy sufficed your receiver need for this year. Where if you told me that you had 2 guys, your starting number 1, your X and your Z, are going to be Jerry Jeudy and Amari Cooper, with your third receiver being a mix of Elijah Moore and Cedric Tillman, that's not that bad. That's and you mix in David Bell, you still have David Njoku. That's pretty good. Now, what's your comeback going to be? Amari Cooper might not be here next year. And how you approach it. I had the same person tell me, watch to see if they do Amari's deal after the draft. If they don't get the receiver that they think they're at 54, maybe that puts a little more onus to get a deal done to keep Amari Cooper here. But just keep an eye out for that. So there is a little bit of back and forth where I'm all in on receiver. I want one at 54. You know me and Malachi Corley. I'll take Troy Franklin. There's a list of guys that I would take there at 54. But then maybe I'm discrediting the other positions that you can grab, knowing that there will be other receivers next year. And then, fact that, Ryan, your receiving core got a boost with Jerry Jeudy. There are people out there that are down on Jerry Jeudy. They don't believe in Jerry Jeudy. They think he was bad in Denver. I would say just go look at the quarterbacks that was thrown to him, whatever. The Browns obviously believe in him. They gave him a contract extension. He's going to be here. You could say for my thirst of a receiver, Jerry Jeudy should have sufficed that.
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, Jerry Jeudy, a first-round talent who hasn't looked right in Denver. Yes, right now to this point in his career, he's a bust. But in a perfect world, him and Amari Cooper are a fantastic duo of receivers to have. Now, you go look at this year's draft. Yeah, if there's not a prospect that you're in love with at 54, because I mentioned how many receivers are going to go. I mean, 15 before 54 is absolutely nuts. But that's the reality we're looking at it. If there's not a prospect you're in love with, like Andrew Berry said, it's just getting deeper and deeper every year. If you need to next year do it, then do it. Like right now, you're looking at Amari Cooper. You don't know his future, but right now, he's still a wide receiver 1 in this league. No question about it. You get Jerry Jeudy, who you hope is at the least a wide receiver 2, and I have a lot of faith in. And then if you wait a year, you figure out an answer in a guy like Cedric Tillman. You see what Elijah Moore, because Elijah Moore, I believe, only has 1 year left on his deal. If he's not really working out, I mean, you're going to have to move on from that. But what if Cedric Tillman ascends? Then you got 3 right there. If Amari does leave, then yeah, you pick one up next year. But you have that. You have David Njoku as well. I mean, go look around the league. I'm not saying you don't need contributors. You don't need 3-4 solid receivers to contribute. But go look at the teams. I mean, let's not pretend like there's these
I'll go
wide
top
receiver
heavy.
threes.
I'll go top
That's
heavy all day. I'd rather take an elite guy.
And we're in the situation where we have the luxury of David Njoku, who let's hope with Deshaun Watson can replicate with Joe Flacco, you have a top 5 tight end right there.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend this narrative that we're lacking receivers. We're really not. Sure, maybe some haven't ascended to the level we expect yet, but that's what you hope Jerry Jeudy's for.
Yeah.
Around the league, I'm not looking at teams that have 3 receivers that I'm amazed by. Really, no team has that. It's usually one amazing, one okay, and yeah, you have your teams that have 2 great guys like
Everybody
the Bengals.
got drunk on the Bengals.
That's
Everybody
what it
looked at
was.
the Bengals like, oh my
That's what it
God,
was.
look at that. But
But
again,
a lot of these other great teams, I mean, give me their top 2 receivers. They're not I would almost take Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy over 80% of them.
well, and who's throwing to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd?
That's
One
what
of the
I'm
best
saying.
quarterbacks in the NFL.
Like yes, the Bengals are an outlier. T. Higgins could be a wide receiver 1 on probably over half the NFL teams.
I'll give you another one, right? What did the Chargers just do? They broke
what I'm
that
saying.
up, and they go, we can't even. And again, I like Justin Herbert, but they couldn't do it with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, chalk that on up.
So as much as
How
I
bad
would
are
like
the
to see a
Chargers going to be
receiver,
this year? I think
Yeah.
the Chargers might suck really bad this year.
they probably will. I mean, given that you're
Oh,
also
but
in the
Harbaugh's
AFC
a
West.
wizard, though, man. He turns. I think the Chargers are going to be bad.
But I think Jerry Jeudy did languish that thirst a lot for
good.
me, actually.
All right, good. I like it. Dude. Justin Lauer, another one. He's 6 under through 8.
Nice.
Co-leader. I put $10 on him on Tipico. The guy's on fire. Canal Fulton, Ohio's own Justin Lauer. Let's go, buddy. Come on now. I have a PXG club. My hybrid's a PXG. He's sponsored by PXG. He chipped one in from the bunker. Let's go.
Attaboy.
There we go. All right, we got plenty more Cavs coming up. We're going to talk to Spencer Davies here in hour 2. A few more things with the Browns. We're going to kind of shift everything up. So we're going to come back. We'll do the morning update. We'll give the grin a try. You want to maybe do NBA? See what the NBA... Let me look at the NFL and the NBA one. I don't look at them before we do them. Maybe we'll pick one, a little NBA playoff version of that. So we'll get to the grid, but then we'll do time hop right away, and then we'll get to Spencer at 10:30. He's got a lot to talk about with the Cavs coming up against the Orlando Magic. I can't wait for that. Folks, big play. What a Friday we've got lined up. So obviously we're on big play, big bets a little bit later today. A fresh edition of Booby's World. Let's go. You want to get ready for the playoffs in Booby's World? That'll be later today. A big play, Easy's channel. So it's funny. I was on a call yesterday. And it was my financial guy, James, good dude. And we were talking, these big Guardians fans, we're talking a lot of baseball, and we're talking my job, like what happened, because, we're kind of wondering. I was like, oh, man, I'm over a big play. He goes, wait a minute, what? And I told him about it. And I was like, dude, we got all these shows, got all these different ones. Jensen Lewis every Monday. We got Dean Brugler coming on Monday, the big play Cleveland show. And he's like, I'll check that out. Please do. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Easiest thing to do is just search Big Play, and you'll see our website, but you'll see our social media handles, and you can see all the shows. Easiest thing to do is follow Big Play, because we just retweet all the stuff from all the different shows. I was talking to my buddy Nick yesterday, too, about Bobby Carpenter. And he's like, wait a minute, Bobby? And I was like, yeah, Bobby's been on Big Play for a long time. He's one of our more popular shows. He goes, I didn't even know that. Down in Columbus. We're down in Cincinnati now. Building something here. Doing something here. And we were getting scarily close. That's not a word, but I'm just saying. We're very close to a brand new announcement and a big thing we've been working on. A brand new way for everybody to consume our content here at Big Play. So we always appreciate your support. We're up on Twitter, Big Play, all the shows, all the channels are there. Check us out when you can. All right, let's catch our break. We come back, rapid fire. Morning update, time hop, grid, Spencer Davies, all comes your way hour 2. Stay with us.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
It's just that's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yep.
Welcome to Big Play, a sports media team that started back in 2014, and now we're not in a garage. Look at us, incorporating some of Cleveland's favorite sports personalities, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland. Coming to you live from the shores of Lake Erie and Burke Lakefront Airport, join Team Big Play for all the best sports talk in Ohio. Check us out on social media at Big Play, bringing you fun and compelling content from downtown Cleveland.
Anthony Schlegel, just how physical he was. You saw the girth and the power and everything he was bringing to the table, especially when he was a nice beefy 255 playing middle linebacker.
We were called soft last year. You don't want to be soft, especially when you come to the playoffs. So that's going to be a process throughout this season of establishing us as a harder team here in the
How does an Ohioan build the perfect parlay?
Who's got something? Big guys looking for long odds. The kids in Columbus are covering better than anyone. And at even odds. If it's even, I'm leaving. Listen, our championship DVD starts today. All right? Dude, I just got an invite to a Cincy playoff watch party. Shut up. Cincy, State, Cleveland, the perfect parlay. I'm a genius.
For the best odds on Ohio sports, bet with your cojones.
It is Spanish, dummy.
Bet with Typical Sportsbook.
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
Are you going to bring up Tom Brady?
No, I was not.
Okay. Ryan this morning sent me the video of Tom Brady running because he thinks that he can come back. And I go, he looks like a 47-year-old guy. He couldn't even run when he was in the NFL.
He doesn't need to run. What does he need to run for?
All right. Ryan thinks that if Tom Brady came back next year, he'd be a top 15 quarterback in the NFL. We differ very much on that opinion. But he sent me the video. I figured he'd have it in there. I don't know. You got Swift and Post Malone. People aren't happy.
Aren't happy?
I don't know. I had somebody text this morning and say that song wasn't very good. I don't know.
Oh.
Ryan's got the morning update. He's got all the stories. Let's get to it. Ryan, take it away.
All right, well, general manager for the Browns, Andrew Berry, spoke yesterday. He talked about Deshaun Watson contract, not as much as Matt would have liked, but a little bit he got to it. He talked about wide receiver depth, and he also talked about, what did he talk about? I feel like nothing else really.
I mean, he talked a lot about the draft and, like, again, wide receivers, the top 30 visits. I mean, there's questions about, like, the kickoff. And so I ain't knocking the reporters, man, but I'm just saying. Really, I mean, that was it. The percentage pick. He was asked a question about hitting on the receivers and hitting on so many picks and all that. I mean, it's the pre-draft presser. So normally you're sitting there asking your general managers what their plans are or what they like about this prospect or things like that. But the Browns don't have a first-round pick, so it's kind of hard to do that. So I think it was fine. You know, again, what are you going to do? Pin him down and yell at him until he tells you what he's going to do with Deshaun Watson's restructure? I don't know. So I think that was fine. Biggest thing, his thoughts on the receivers, his thoughts on the offensive tackle position. He's not trying to give away Greg Newsome. Those are some of the highlights out there, and he didn't rip a fart like Trent Baalke. So I guess that was a win for Andrew Berry. Wow. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Excuse me.
Come on. Trent, what are you doing? And he literally was like, excuse me. Like, was he nervous or something? I don't know. But he didn't do that, so I guess that's a thumbs up. Good job press conference there from Andrew Berry.
The Guardians start their home playoff series. Look at me, not the Cavs.
We'll get there, Ryan. We'll get there. Don't you worry about that. You're just fine.
The Guardians start their regular season series against the Oakland Athletics tonight at home. First pitch slated for 7:10. Tristan McKenzie gets the nod, although he mentioned he's dealing with a UCL.
So that's like, I read the Athletic article, man. He's got a torn ligament in his elbow. Are we a week away from them going, yeah, he actually needs Tommy John surgery? Seriously, are we a week away from that? And the trend when Strider went down and when Bieber went down, everybody's freaking out about Tommy John and all that kind of stuff. It should, that in the last 5 years, find me pitchers that haven't had to deal with it. Guys that get it a second time. I mean, it's just insane. And it's, you try to bite the bullet and say, well, you don't really need him. We'll strengthen it up. Bro, I just put it this way. If you need to go get an MRI in your elbow, just go get the surgery the next day. Like, there's no... I'm not a doctor. I'm not James Andrews doing these things. Find me somebody that says they're going to try to avoid Tommy John that actually avoids Tommy John surgery. When you find me one, it might be the first. Once you have these problems, you think pitching is going to solve that? You think pitching is actually going to solve the issues that you have with your elbow? And the thing about Tristan McKenzie, he had a lot of injuries in the minor leagues. And his first full year up here, when he was stellar, everybody goes, wow. But a lot of people are also going, we're actually more impressed that he stayed healthy. And then lo and behold, what happened? The thing is, Tristan McKenzie's a lean guy. You know, he's pretty thin. They call him Sticks for a reason. And that fact, and this is completely unfair, but do you want to know a guy that never really seemed to struggle with elbow or shoulder issues?
Bartolo Colon.
That, and Aroldis Chapman. And Aroldis Chapman was throwing harder than everybody. Have you ever seen Aroldis Chapman not in a baseball jersey? He looks like he's on steroids. And I'm not saying that he is. He is a hulking human being. And the mechanics, and he's a reliever, so that's different. I understand that. But, like, when you see those slow motions of guys with their it's insane to see what pitchers do to their elbow. And do you not feel like we're dealing with like a ticking bomb here too? That we're just waiting for the inevitable, that we get the press release that Tristan McKenzie's going to have to go have Tommy John. And then you're going to need another guy.
I wouldn't be surprised by it.
I'm not.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Keep the bats hot. Keep the pitching going. Like, I'm going to watch Tristan McKenzie tonight and say, how's the elbow? What's going on here? There's a reason I didn't put him in the boost. His over-under was 4.5 strikeouts. But damn, man, it is the A's. I'll take that on the side bet. I'll take a 4.5 over there for Tristan McKenzie. Get it done. Get it win. The A's stink. Treat them like they stink. And beat them on up. Get a sweep here on the weekend, and I'll be feeling really good about the Guards.
The Cavs have one more day of prep before they take on the Orlando Magic in the opening round of the NBA playoffs. They open up as a home point 4.5 favorite against the Orlando Magic, as they will be at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse tomorrow, 1 p.m.
Can we get an update on our Twitter question, please, Ryan? We're asking everybody, call your shot for this series. What do we got?
Alrighty, 50% Cavs in 6, 20% Cavs in 4 or 5.
Nice.
17% Magic win. And lastly, Cavs in 7, 10%.
There you go. Mike has a good tweet here. He goes, Ryan, you're too young to remember when Bartolo came up, but at one point he looked like Tristan McKenzie. Over the years, it happens. But Bartolo, the picture of athletic prowess there. Home run hitting Bartolo Colon,
I was going to say home run hitting Bartolo.
Don't sell him short on that. But yeah, I mean, like, Cavs, I feel real good. I'm liking where they're at. We're about 20 minutes away from talking to Spencer Davies, get his insight on this series. I'm liking where the Cavs are at. I am just so excited for tomorrow. Let's go. Get it done, Cavs.
All right, Matt. Well, the day is upon us that we've all been waiting for. The album, The Tortured Poet Society, finally... Taylor has graced us with another album. I'm yet to listen to it. I probably won't unless I'm forced, to be honest with you. No shade against Taylor Swift. Just not my cup of tea, but it is already taking not only America, but the world by storm.
So I had a text with my buddies this morning because apparently everybody listened to the one that she did with Post Malone.
Fortnite, it is called.
And, like, the game?
Correct, honestly. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Different spelling, but yes.
Okay. Latest release. I'm on...
Apparently there's a Travis line in there somewhere.
There's 31 songs.
Yeah, she announced at 2 a.m., Matt, that it was a surprise double album.
I'm on Spotify. I wish I could see, like, how many people have listened to it already. You know what I mean? If you had to guess, Ryan, jeez, oh man.
How many people have already listened to it?
No, I just have. How many people do you think listen to Taylor Swift on average per month on Spotify?
Per month?
Per month.
90 million?
98 million people.
Wow, I was close.
Very close. 98 million people per month listen to Taylor Swift. I'm going to go. How many people have listened to Dead? What is it called?
The Tortured Poets
Dead.
Society.
I almost said Dead Poets.
or is it not? Maybe not Society.
I don't know.
Tortured Poets something. Poets Club, maybe?
Tortured Poets? I don't. Tortured Poets Department?
Department, that's it. Because it's Dead Poets Society.
Dead Poets Society is what I keep thinking of. I'd love to know how many people have already listened to it. Is Post Malone over? Like, not over, but it sounds like he's shifting. Like, he's not the same Post Malone anymore. You were too young, man, when he first hit.
What do you mean I was too young?
Well, were you in college?
I was like
2015.
No, you're tripping.
When did Post Malone take off?
Post Malone probably in like 2017 dropped, or 2016 or 15, dropped White Iverson.
About 20,
dropped White Iverson, but he didn't pop off really until he
Beer
dropped.
Bongs and Bentleys was 17.
Yes,
17.
Yes, with that's when Congratulations with Quavo took the world by storm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So I was not too young. I was a junior in high school.
Okay, all right.
I'm not
all
a baby.
All right. I mean, so sure. That seems to be prime Post, right?
That and Beer Bongs and Bentleys was
That's what I'm talking
good.
about. I think
Yes.
Rockstar, 21 Savage. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like. That's not necessarily my genre, so to speak. But that seems to be because I had people telling me like, "Oh man, Post Malone's not the same anymore."
I mean, he's definitely different. He's a lot skinnier.
Down Bad. Florence and the Machine. Do you know how many people probably are lining up just to do anything with Taylor Swift?
Oh yeah.
Because you heard stories like there's a famous interview with Eminem. I think it was Eminem or it might have been Dr. Dre. And they asked her, like, somebody wants to, collab with you on a song. And they go, $500,000 for a line. $500,000 for me to come and sing a line of your song. What do you think? Do you think Post paid her? This was just come in, we'll help each other on this? I don't know. I have no idea.
Probably. I mean, Post is still huge.
Oh, I'm not saying he's not. Did Taylor Swift
I'm surprised he didn't get a Super Bowl yet.
I think he will.
That would be awesome.
I think he will.
That would be awesome.
All right, this is from the Rolling Stone. I gotta subscribe. Okay, I'm not gonna complain about subscribing because I get that side of things, but I'm not subscribed to Rolling Stone. I'm just wondering if Post Malone had to pay.
By the way, Charles is spitting. He said
Yeah.
if Tom Brady went to the Vikings, him, Jay Jettas, Hawk, and Addison,
You watch that video?
he'd throw 5,000
I
yards,
don't know
40
about that.
touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know about that. They said Fortnite is track number 1. Yeah, they didn't release any songs before they just let the album go out. God, I'd love to know how many people have listened to it already. What is it? Tortured
Poets Department. We got to get rolling, man.
I know. I'm just all in on this. Hey, best I got for you. You want some YouTube on you?
Sure.
Tortured Poets Department. Just a video on YouTube was released 10 hours ago. It's got 1.8 million views.
That's it, honestly? I thought it'd be more than that.
1.8. Fortnite with Post Malone released 10 hours ago on YouTube, 2.5 million.
Yeah.
2.5 million. So, all right. There you go. Good. I'm not going to listen either, so I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Well, you know what you'll be putting in time up this day next year.
What?
Taylor Swift released.
Should I put that in right now?
Yeah.
All right, I'm putting it in right now.
Want to get to time up?
Yeah, let's do it. What's it called again?
Dude, the Tortured Poets Department. I'm going to write it on your forehead.
Well, I couldn't see it then. Well, how'd that help me? All right, I put it in. Time up 1 year or today. That's good. All right, we're going to sprint through this so then we can get to the grid coming up. Time up. I'll tell you what happened this day, the 19th of April. 1 year ago today, reports that San Francisco would be fielding trade calls for Trey Lance. Imagine that. You draft a guy 3rd overall, you get rid of him for nothing. John Lynch got a contract extension. Why? Because he frowned Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan's a wizard. Ain't that something? Isn't that how that plays out? So there what it is. This day, 2021, official confirmation that Michael Keaton would be returning as Batman in The Flash. Missed the mark. I know what they were trying to do. I would still watch The Flash. Not a great movie. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, man.
Didn't need to see Keaton. Didn't need it.
I'm just saying,
Grasping
man.
at straws.
I understand this is going to be a quote-unquote bad take, but I did watch the second Batman with Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito.
Batman Returns?
Didn't do it for me.
Well, it either does or it doesn't. That's a really kind of Tim Burton getting really into it, you know.
So it was like, what are you doing?
A little dark, a little trippy. Michelle Pfeiffer kills it in that, though, as Catwoman. She's so good. DeVito, super creepy as
Who's the best
Penguin.
Catwoman? You got Zoe Kravitz, Anne Hathaway, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Well, and I can go back to Lee Merriweather, Eartha Kitt. I mean,
I like Zoe Kravitz a lot.
I thought she was really good. I liked her because it's always a take on it. Anne Hathaway's didn't do it for me. Didn't really do it for me. Didn't do it for me. I would say Michelle Pfeiffer. I mean, that's, again, I would maybe say Lee Merriweather way back in the day. But, yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer's was the best. She was really good. This day, 2020, I guess that I could ask you this for a TV or movie, but it is what it is. The Last Dance, Episode 1 premiered this day, 2020. Perfect timing, man.
I didn't really watch it.
Oh, my God. It's really interesting. And now, is it a Michael Jordan propaganda piece? Kind of.
Wait till the Kings drops.
What's that?
When LeBron's drops?
Oh. Yeah, I'd watch that. But, I mean, Jordan, I think it was perfect because it got released like Tiger King during the pandemic. So you're sitting at home just going nuts. You're looking for something to watch.
Also try to distract you from LeBron's final run, but that's just me.
It is what it is. The Last Dance is all about Michael Jordan being, like, it's built up for Jordan to be the best. Now, there are stories. He tells you the flu game was actually a food poisoning game.
He was hungover.
He says it was a seafood pizza. Who orders a seafood pizza, by the way? The stuff about Rodman was interesting where he goes to Phil Jackson. He's like, Phil, you got to let him go. You got to let him go to Vegas for 2 days to get this out. He has to go pull him out of Carmen Electra's bed. And that kind of stuff is interesting. But it is a Michael Jordan propaganda piece. Then just the memes and the gifts that you get out of it. And I took that personally. Yeah. You know, that kind of stuff is where it was at. Where he's laughing at the tablet. It was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll ever, maybe I need to put that on the list as a rewatch, but The Last Dance aired this day, 2020. This day, 2018, John Dorsey had his pre-draft availability. I'd play some of the sound, but we don't really have. But anyway, he just talked about the fit of the quarterback, and you listen back to it, and you realize he dropped some nuggets about Baker Mayfield. He wasn't talking about Baker, but he was, without us actually knowing in a week before the draft. This day, 2018. Also this day, 2018, Denzel Ward had his pre-draft visit with the Browns, and I said, get him. I don't need an edge rusher. I need a corner. They made the right pick, and he is a very, 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 very good player.
Nordonia alone, baby.
Well done there. This day, 2016, there was a report that if the Browns traded the number 2 pick to the Eagles, it would be for a first and a third in the 2016-17 years. Eventually, they did trade that pick away. They took Carson Wentz. Maybe you could have taken, I don't know, but that's exactly what happened. This day, 2014, the Blue Jackets won their first ever playoff game in franchise history. We are light years away from it, buddy. We'll get back there one day. Pretty serious one. I remember this day. This day, 2013, Boston PD apprehended Dzhokhar Sarnaev, the Boston Marathon situation. And again, you and I are talking about the day that it happened. And the news, like, there are a few days that I've ever sat down to, like, watch breaking news, like something's happening. That was one, and the other one was when President Obama announced that they got Osama bin Laden. And I remember, because a buddy of mine, I was in college when that happened, and a buddy of mine was really into the news, and he texted all of us, he goes, you want to turn the TV on, everybody's saying he's about to announce it. And you're like, oh my God. But when they apprehended him, man, this day, 2013. This day, 1997 NFL Draft. Orlando Pace goes number 1 overall. Of course, Ohio State goes to the St. Louis Rams as a pick from the Jets. He's in the Hall of Fame. This is a pretty good draft. Darrell Russell goes second. Sean Springs out of Ohio State goes third. Peter Boulware goes fourth. Hall of Famer Walter Jones goes 6th to the Seahawks. James Ferrier in that first round. Kansas City, 13th overall. Tight end at California, Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez goes in this draft. Of course, the Browns had no picks in this one. Hall of Famers in this one. Walter Jones, Orlando Pace, Tony Gonzalez, Rondé Barber, and Jason Taylor, both third-round picks, find their way to Canton out of this draft this day, 1997. This day, 1995, the Oklahoma City bombing. Too young for me to remember, but again, and then this day, 1993, the Waco siege ended. You know about that? Did you watch Waco? Yeah. Crazy stuff, man. This day, 1948, the ABC television company began broadcasting. This day, 1948. What's your favorite network? CBS, NBC, ABC?
I don't really have a favorite network.
Well, you got to pick one, and then all the offshoots of all of it.
Man, I don't
Probably
know.
ABC.
I guess ABC.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's where it's at. This day, 1775, the Battle of Lexington, which started the Revolutionary War. What a time. Very happy birthday goes out to Al Unser Jr., former Browns linebacker. Do you know who Al Unser Jr. is?
No.
IndyCar. Wally Rayner, former Browns linebacker. Troy Polamalu.
I know who that is.
Near top of the list of Browns tormentors. Indians tormentor Joe Mauer celebrating a birthday today. Maria Sharapova, Candace Parker. I'm not wishing Kelly Olynyk a birthday. Tore out Kevin Love's shoulder. I'll never forgive him from that. Tim Curry, the actor. It. Have you ever seen the miniseries It?
No.
Oh. He plays Pennywise. So good. I know he's had some health problems over the last couple of years, but shout out to Tim Curry. Elliot Ness, not just a good beer from Great Lakes Brewing Company, but a very famous lawman here in Cleveland. Hayden Christensen,
Nice.
Suge Knight, Joanna Gaines, and Jesse James of Monster Garage fame. I used to love that show. Did you ever watch Monster Garage growing up?
No.
Way before your time. Way before your time. Jesse James went from a motorcycle like whatchamacallit? Like customizer. He had a little documentary with ESPN and it launched like a whole TV show. He somehow got that to marrying Sandra Bullock and then he cheated on her like a jackass. You get to marry Sandra Bullock and you screw that up? Whatever, it's Jesse James. But I guess happy birthday to him on this day. All right, Ryan.
The grid time?
You want to do grid? What would
Do
you
you
want
have
to do?
any TVs and movies or no?
No, it was just the last
Aw,
answer
you
for the close.
sold.
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. Do you want to do the grid or do you want to wait?
No, let's do the grid.
Let's do the grid because we'll
Let's try
get to
get through
Spencer.
it
Yeah,
fast.
let's go fast. You know how we go with that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. You got it up? All right, so here's the NFL. Do you want to peek at the NBA?
Want to?
Yeah, take a peek. Nah? NFL? All right, NFL. Here we go. Oh, crap.
Did you not email
I
him the
didn't
link,
email
Matt?
Spencer the link.
Oh, good.
Stand by. Ah!
Don't worry, I'll carry us. All right, only one team, Bears. So could we technically do Justin Fields?
Yes, because he's not played. Yet.
Right?
Yeah.
Rams, we could do Aaron Donald. Right?
Sure. I just said it. I suck. I suck.
Buccaneers, Mike Evans.
Yeah. All right.
Where do you want to start?
All right, lock in here. I'm just trying to just quickly run through some guys here to see if any fit here with any of these things. Nothing's jumping off the table, which tells me it's probably going to be a little bit strong.
Nick Foles, Jaguars, Bears. Did Nick Foles play the Jaguars?
Yes, I don't know if he played for the Bears. I think he played for the
he
Bears.
did.
All right, rip Nick Foles there.
Jalen Ramsey, Jaguars, Rams.
Yes. And then I feel like Buccaneers.
Leonard Fournette.
Jags,
Oh my
Leonard
God, I'm
Fournette.
going off.
Yeah.
I'm going off.
Here, go, Ryan, go. Rams, Bengals. I feel like I don't know why DB is speaking to me on this. A defensive back is speaking to me on the Rams. That's
Bell.
something like that, like Eli Apple, Von Bell. They ran through so many of those guys, but I don't think so. All right, Bengals. Andy Dalton doesn't work for any of those. Wait a minute. Did Dalton play for the Bears?
Why do I feel like he did? But
I feel like
don't
he
know
did
if
too.
I don't know. If he did.
I feel like he did. He did. No, he did. Yep. I knew.
Two more.
All right, come on now.
We got time. We got time.
Send it up here. You were on fire.
Yeah.
You were rocking here.
Oh. Bengals, Tampa Bay, Giovanni Bernard.
Okay. Didn't know he played there. All right, Ryan.
Look at me, man.
Look at you go. All right, Rams Bengals to close this out on a Friday and give us some good juju head into the weekend here. All right, I'm moving through quarterbacks. Nothing on A.J. McCarron. Carson Palmer never played for the Rams. Like, I'm trying to go back to St. Louis times, too. Like, Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, none of those guys.
like, did Ocho ever play for the Rams?
No. I don't think T.J. Hushmanzada did. Eifert went down to Jacksonville, but I don't think that was it. And then he kind of, his career kind of ended after that. Kickers. Bullock.
Randy Bullock ever played for the Rams? I don't think he did.
I don't think he did. Jeff Driscoll. You knew he was our magic guy. I know he played for the Bengals.
Did Josh Johnson play for the Bengals?
I think so. We're no on Fitzpatrick. McCown doesn't work here.
Andy Dalton was never the Rams.
So Josh Johnson did play for the Bengals. He never played for the Rams, which is a little bit of a shocker of all the teams that he played. Oh, man. Dude, if we can't get this one and it's just the one hanging out there for us, damn, is that going to bother me? Corey Dillon? No, I don't think so. No, yeah, he went up to New England.
Perfect ever played for the Rams?
No, I don't think so. God, man, there's got to be... Son of a gun. All right, from the Rams standpoint, any receivers that made their way over there?
Not that I can recall.
Not that I can think of, man. Damn it. I don't know, man. This is going to be a tough one for us. Unless lightning strikes here in a couple of minutes. If we have to, I would say rip Jeff Driscoll. But I don't know that for sure. Because they... Like Tutu Atwell? Wait. No, there's no way he works, right? He's drafted by the Rams. He's young. Yeah, it's not Tutu. There's a receiver. I know that there's a receiver that we're missing in this. Oh, man.
This is tough.
Yeah, I hate to tell you, man. We might have to call it here. We might have to call it. You might as well. I wasn't feeling good about it. I didn't feel good about it. Let's check the one that we didn't get. That's Bears-Bengals.
Wait, what did we miss? Rams, Bengals.
Only 28.
Andrew Whitworth.
Oh, my God. How did we miss
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Really?
Unless it's lying to me.
I didn't think he played for the Rams.
I mean, we didn't do bad. That's not many people.
No, but
Cooper.
We should have gotten that. We should have gotten that. I think that's who I was thinking of. But anyway. All right, let's do this. Let's catch our break. We come back. Spencer Davies going to join us. We have a lot of Cavs and Magic to get to with Spencer, Hoop Industry, Cavs Insider.
He's here if you want.
You just want to do it? All right, let's get right to it. Spencer joining us as always, man. Appreciate your time. Follow him on Twitter at Spin Davies on Instagram as well. Spencer, happy playoff time. We're a day away. It's exciting. I started this morning, Spencer, by saying I'm just going to be solely focused on this playoff run. I know it's been up and down for the Cavs. I know the regular season certainly impacts the postseason, but I think a week off helped this team. I'm just coming in with just such a fresh mindset with the Cavs. Spencer Davies, welcome to the show, buddy. Got to ask you, where's your mindset starting with this Cavs team starting tomorrow with the playoffs?
Yeah, it's a clean slate, Matt. Let's be honest. It's just one of those things where you can stew on what happened Sunday for as long as you want to, but the fact of the matter is they got to where they wanted to. They got a home court advantage, and they're playing a team that's just kind of what they were last year, coming into this with no experience with their core. They've got a year under their belt now of all of whatever they've heard for the last, 4 or 5 months, and now they're looking to prove everybody else wrong. And I mean, the main thing that's been in practice this week has been talking about physicality and making sure that you match that intensity and that strength. And I think they're about sick of hearing about it.
Well, speaking of that, Spencer, out of practice this week, Dean Wade, we know, not probably going to play. We saw Sam Merrill out there, but Donovan said he's 100%. What were some of your biggest takeaways, maybe even just specifically on Mitchell, what he had to say this week at practice?
He just seems focused. I think even though he's saying he's 100%, there's no chance that he's 100%.
Right,
but
yeah.
I will say this. He is definitely as closest to 100% than he's been since the All-Star break. And that's a good sign for the Cavs because that's their main guy. That's the guy who they revolve around. He's the man that makes the plays. He's the man that can create his own shot, create shots for others. And frankly, he was being very, solid on the defensive end this season, and getting steals, getting into passing lanes, and also just on ball pressure. So the fact that he's able to kind of be able to make cuts a little bit more now, have a little bit more burst than he did when he first got back from that knee injury is a big sign for the Cavs. And, he's also got a chip on his shoulder because of how bad he played against New York last playoffs. So my biggest takeaway from Donovan is that he's coming into this with a lot of confidence mentally and physically.
Spencer Davies joining us, of course. Follow him on Twitter at Spin Davies, Hoop Industry, Cavs Insider there for Fan Nation as well. Spencer, I ran through some of the matchups that I'm looking at for this series. Want your thoughts. Number one, Banchero, maybe Mobley, Allen, because then I think about Wagner, and if you want to put Mobley out on him. And then the other one is Jalen Suggs, whether he's going to be defending Garland or if he's going to be on Donovan Mitchell coming up the court. Which of those, if any, a different one, what matchups do you see being the most important for this series?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Jalen Suggs and Donovan Mitchell just because they're kind of built the same way. As you know, Jalen Suggs, coming into the draft, he was a guy that they were talking about. He's a football player. He's a quarterback. He's kind of rock solid. He's definitely been really good defensively his entire career when he's been healthy. And he's definitely kind of gotten better as an offensive player as well, shooting and scoring. He's just been a little inconsistent on that end. So I'm looking forward to that matchup. But you bring up Banchero, and that's interesting to me because Paolo is definitely more of a stronger frame, right? He's got a lot of size at 6'9", 6'10", and he's got a big body, and he's able to kind of force his way inside. And the problem that the Cavs had the last time they faced the Magic was that he was able to get downhill at will, and Franz Wagner was able to get downhill as well, and they were fouling a ton. So they just got to be really, really smart about defending these guys, doing the rule of verticality, making sure that you're not reaching too early or reaching in, on doubles, whatever it may be. So you don't send these guys to the free throw line because that's how they make their money. They're not as consistent of a shooting team. They're going to get the most of their points, off of turnovers that they create and getting to the free throw stripe. So that's the biggest thing, I think, in my mind. With Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, I think the version that you've seen them the last couple weeks is what you're going to get in the playoffs. They're starting to really turn it on as far as being aggressive on their own. And defensively, I don't think you ever have to worry about them because they're going to stand their ground. Evan Mobley's going to cover the entire half court, and Jared Allen's going to be able to reject and alter any shot that comes into the paint.
What would you do with Banchero? Would it be, hey, Mobley, this is you, man? And I know Isaac Okoro is giving up some size there. Give Allen down there. I mean, Spencer, I said get Tristan in there and get some body on Paolo a little bit just to get him physical. You talked about it earlier as well. That mindset, the physicality that you heard this week at practice, which is great. Banchero is the one that I think about, or I want Tristan in there legally and make it hard so he's feeling it. But I'm thinking so much, bro. I just go back to that 42-point game that he had. I know the Cavs won that game, and it'd be nice to say, all right, let Banchero do what he wants, and we'll lock everybody else down. I'm all in on, I'm just intrigued. I feel good about the Cavs in this series and what they're going to do, but I'm really intrigued what they're going to do with Paolo Banchero.
Don't let him get to his spot. Don't let him get to that nail area, that, 12 to 16 footer that he loves. I think that if they can just at least keep him out on the perimeter as much as possible, they'll be in okay shape. You bring up Tristan Thompson. Marcus Morris comes to mind for me because Dean Wade's not going to be around.
Yeah.
Just spot minutes, whatever they need to make sure that, and send a message that he's not going to be able to get whatever he wants and go to wherever he likes. Paolo is an incredible talent, though. I think he plays extremely poised. They spoke very highly of him this week at practice, so it won't be easy. But you mentioned Isaac Okoro. I think Isaac Okoro's got the muscle and the strength to keep in front. I just think Paolo could shoot over top of him if need be. But I believe that Isaac Okoro will be on him quite a bit. But initially in that starting lineup, I feel like there will be a lot of switches. I think Jared Allen will take some of that as well. Especially if Jonathan Isaac's in at the 5. You don't know what they're going to do with Jonathan Isaac. Obviously, Wendell Carter is an option for them at center as well, who's very strong and has had a heck of a season himself. But it's not going to be just one guy. It's going to be different looks, and I suspect that the Magic will throw the same at the Cavs.
Spencer Davies talking some Cavs Magic. Spin Davies on Twitter and Instagram. Drop a follow there for Spencer. Dude, we're 10 minutes in. I haven't mentioned Darius Garland. And I know it's so hard about this season, what the offseason is going to be with Mitchell's contract, Garland on the way out, JB, all that kind of stuff. I need him to shoot. Spencer. What are you seeing out of Darius Garland? Is that as simple to say that Donovan is now going to be your primary ball handler? You could even have Karis LeVert bring it up if needed, and we just need Darius Garland to shoot? Where are you at with DG starting this series out?
Yeah, he needs to be more aggressive and shoot more, especially if he's not going to go into the paint as much. We know that Orlando not only is strong, but they're very long. That's a lot of pressure. I'm assuming that they're going to send, blitzes. They're going to end up trying to double team Donovan Mitchell. So Darius Garland's going to need to know when to shoot and know when to create for his teammates, and don't get too fancy with it. Don't play with your food. That's something that we know that DG's done in the past, but I think that he's more prepared for this stage at this point. Darius, as a step back 3 shooter, is shooting something around like 42-43%. So that's something that he needs to get to, and needs to get 7 or 8 of them up. Like it's simple as that, especially if Orlando can't match your scoring. If you're making those shots, then there you go. But DG just kind of needs to make sure that he's not dribbling himself into trouble, because there's a lot of arms and a lot of length waiting for him there in the middle of that floor. So just find your spots. I think getting him off ball too would be really good for the Cavs as a catch shooter, even if it's not the step backs that I just mentioned, because as a catch shooter, he's historically been really good. So that's one way to involve yourself in the game. And then he's gotten a lot of credit defensively this year, and that's because he's been more attack minded and aggressive on that side of the ball because of what they've been able to do this year. Adding Max Strus on the perimeter as well, with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen waiting behind you. So Darius, for me, I think he's coming into this a lot more clear-minded. I know the regular season wasn't the greatest for him, but who would have been good for, because he got his face broken. He had his jaw, he couldn't drink or eat out of his, at all after that happened with Kristaps Porzingis in the middle of the season. And then he had to come back for it, lost 12 pounds.
Can I ask you, Spencer, because we haven't had you on, looking back on it now, are we maybe downplaying how bad? Because it just seemed like now we realize that was it. And I'm not saying that he's not skittish. I would be too if I had my face broken, my jaw broken. But, dude, we see him get down there sometimes. He just doesn't seem to be the same guy. Was that, now that we know how the regular season played out, and I'm with you, fresh mind, get ready to go for the playoffs now. But I look back on that now, Spencer, and I go, that maybe we didn't understand maybe how big of a deal that was at the time.
Yeah, and even JB Bickerstaff said, of course there'd be some trepidation going into the paint, and you've got guys waiting for you. You probably get deja vu.
Every
What
game,
if I put my head
Spencer, he's
down?
getting a hit in the face, he's getting a hit in the chest, and I know he's a shorter guy, he's a guard, it's kind of open up to that, but man, it seems like he's a magnet all of a sudden for it.
Yeah, and he had a high free throw rate too before the injury. So I mean, I feel like it's an anomaly the way that the season's gone, and a lot of people like to pile on to Darius, but I think this is a series and this is a playoff run, more specifically, that he'd like to answer those doubters, and he doesn't want to duck any smoke.
Give me another guy, Spencer. You mentioned Strus, Niang, Sam Merrill had 26 off the bench in that one Magic game. Is there somebody else? You mentioned Marcus Morris as well. All acceptable answers. Kind of maybe like the X factor kind of guy that you're looking at for the series for the Cavs.
X factor. I guess Strus and Merrill would fit that just because, and Niang included as well, because those are the guys that they went out and got to make sure that there's space on the floor, right? You can shoot. You can make sure that there's a little bit more, dynamic of an attack in your sets than per usual. A lot of pick and rolls last year against New York that they couldn't really, figure out and shoot. And New York was just sniffing them out, right? Now the Cavs are a little bit more multifaceted. They play with a little bit more pace. And that's a key word that Donovan Mitchell mentioned, that Darius Garland mentioned, is getting it up the floor and make sure you run on these guys, because in the half court, they're tough to beat. They're tough to beat, Orlando is. So give yourself a little bit more of a chance by defending, and then grab that rebound and go. That's, I think, biggest key to beating this Orlando team, is make sure you play with pace and take care of the damn ball. They've had so many boneheaded turnovers and random moments this year, and then they've like snapped a finger and it's gone away, and they've played clean. So I mean, just make sure that you're not doing anything dumb with the ball in your hands, which is, it sounds mean, but they've done a lot of dumb stuff with the ball in their hands this year.
It's funny, Spencer, we had that exact conversation in hour one, and Ryan brought up a good point to say it's not even just the turnovers, it's when they're turning the football, the basketball over. Is it late in the game? You seem to have some throwaways with a minute and a half to go, and you're like, what are you doing? Because that was going to be my next thing, Spencer. When you look at the Magic, what would be the one thing that they want? Because again, what are they? Third in the NBA in turnover rate, the points off the turnovers. They don't shoot a lot of threes. They're not great at it, but you mentioned the free throws. When you look at the Magic, we know how good they are defensively. Cavs are good defensively. What do you think the one thing the Magic want to do to win this series?
They want to make sure that Donovan Mitchell can't do anything, because they want to make the Cavs beat them other than Spida. I think that's the obvious answer to that question. I think that they want to continue to put pressure on the rim the way they did the last time they faced Cleveland. And, a lot of that's the Wagner brothers. The Wagner brothers are going to do that. The Wagner brothers are going to drive every Cleveland fan insane in this series. Not only because of that, but don't forget where they went to college. and that's
an excellent point.
The connection. But
they're entering that Kelly. We talked Kelly Olynyk earlier because it's his birthday. I'm like, just those guys. Like, I know Joakim Noah's back in the news talking about the Cavs, and he's like, I didn't hate Cleveland, I just hated LeBron. I feel like those guys are on the precipice of starting to enter that for Cavs fans. Be like, they're just really annoying. So as long as they don't dislocate anybody's shoulder tomorrow, they won't quite get to that level, but we'll hold out and see how that goes.
They wear the maize and blue, but to be fair, Karis LeVert did too. But I would say that those guys probably are going to get downhill. Who can be a really X factor for Orlando, in my opinion? I think two guys, Cole Anthony.
I was going to say Cole Anthony.
He can light that.
I like Cole Anthony, man. I like his game. I do, yeah.
He can change it in a heartbeat, and then you still have Markelle Fultz. They have so many guards that can do different things. And then Joe Ingles is like the adult in the room on that team. And you saw what happened the last time they played in Cleveland.
Stick it to us? Even when he's with the Pacers, I always feel like it's Joe. I'm like, where did this guy come from? He just seems like he always sticks it to the Cavs.
He does. And he's going to want to one-up Donovan, his old teammate from Utah. So just be prepared. Be prepared for everything. Make sure that you're, on your P's and Q's. And, it's interesting. A lot of people were asking about the rotation and how deep it's going to go. I think the Cavs are probably going to go 8 deep and maybe 9 with Sam Merrill. And then you're going to have kind of those shifts, so to speak. Like we mentioned earlier, maybe Tristan Thompson gets put on Paolo Banchero or Marcus Morris, something like that. I mentioned this earlier. Dean Wade's not going to be around. He's dealing with an injury a knee injury that's, really been keeping him out. And they've been very vague as to what his availability is going to be for the postseason period. So we'll see what happens on that front. But yeah, I'd probably expect 8-9 guys probably to go. And we'll see how deep that Orlando goes too.
All right, Spencer, wanted to wrap up with you. Spencer Davies, always great to have you on. Appreciate your time, man. We're going to run through the playoff series starting tonight, and just give me your quick winner, maybe a quick thought on each one. Do you like Chicago or Miami tonight?
I'm one of those people that goes never doubt Miami, but Jimmy Butler's dealing with that MCL injury. And what a terrible blow, by the way. They went from being a 7 seed from possibly being eliminated. The Bulls have the 10 seed. The 10 seeds never won and gotten into the thing. So, or were they? No, they were the 9. My fault. My fault. They were the 9.
But I want to say Chicago. But you watch DeMar DeRozan, and I was Kobe White having a career and all that. But I still watch Tyler Hero just splash threes with a hand in his face. I still, Bam. They haven't.
He wasn't in Philly. I'll say that he was not in Philly. He was like 5 of 20 at some point.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. You're right. But it's like I instantly want to say Bulls, but it's like I forget that Miami has some depth too. That one's a really tough one for me too.
It is tough. Give me Miami just because, like you said, like they have a little bit more. I think defensively, they're really going to turn it on. You saw that matchup zone in the first half against Philly. The Sixers figured it out, and credit to Nick Nurse and that team for finding a way to really get to their spots. But that matchup zone, once you're stuck in it, that's a tough matchup.
Late one tonight. Again, New Orleans not having Zion. So, again, Miami without Jimmy, no Zion for New Orleans.
Enough of these injuries, jeez.
I don't know if I trust the Kings, Spencer. Like, I think it would be almost anybody else. Like, oh, yeah, that's a runaway because the Pelicans don't have Zion. Like, I like McCollum. I'm a big Brandon Ingram guy, sure. I just don't know if I trust the Kings in this game either.
Well, it depends on what version you see of Brandon Ingram, because Brandon Ingram didn't play like all of the fourth quarter in that game against the Lakers, which was crazy to me. But Zion Williamson was moving as well as he ever has. Honestly, he was moving as well as he was when he was at Duke. And you had a lot of contributions from a guy like Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy's been playing terrific. Herbert Jones, really tough. Jose Alvarado gutting out an ankle injury the entire way. Is that going to be enough against the Kings? The Kings can really put pressure on you too. We know what Domantas Sabonis can do. He is very tough inside. I suspect that he'll have a really solid game along with De'Aaron Fox. Keegan Murray's been averaging nearly 20 points a game since Malik Monk went down. Keon Ellis has been huge for that team in the latter half of the season. So, you want me to pick? I'm going to go Kings just because the last time that the Pelicans played the Kings without Zion, they actually blew them out. They blew out the Kings. So I think Sacramento is going to be looking for some revenge in that situation.
All right, let's start in the East. Philly, Knicks, Embiid back. Looked like he was struggling in that game with his conditioning. Knicks has an intriguing matchup. Spencer, pick one.
It is intriguing. It's just so hard to touch not knowing what Joel's going to do, because Joel had to adjust, right, to win that game against Miami. He had to shoot the three. He had to make sure he's getting his teammates involved by passing it. He still got his rebounds, but you could see he wasn't really doing he wasn't banging in the paint for him. Like, he wasn't really doing his thing. He wasn't taking guys off the dribble and making his patented stop and go mid-ranger. So I don't know what Joel Embiid looks like, and that's tough because New York is going to make it hell. They've got two bigs like Isaiah Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson, who's back now, to make it tough on him. I'm assuming they're going to put OG Anunoby on Tyrese Maxey, and I'm just trying to figure out who's going to stop Jalen Brunson from getting to that corner of the paint and shooting that mid-ranger and using his footwork in there. It's tough. It's really tough. And, credit to them. They go out and get OG, they get Precious Chua to add to this core, and they've been playing well. Miles McBride has been out of his mind off the bench. So I got to take New York, honestly.
All right. I like it.
Yeah.
Milwaukee shouldn't have any problem with the Pacers, right? Right, Spencer,
You jumped ahead. You jumped ahead there, Matt. You jumped ahead. I don't know what Giannis is going to look like, right?
Right, yeah, right. You would think
that's the one that kind of gives me a little hesitance. Indiana, if they get a good scoring night on you, they could put up 140 if they wanted to.
Right.
Now I know that doesn't happen in the playoffs. But they can go up and put 120 up. What is Chris Middleton, going to do like with Damian Lillard, just them as a 1-2 punch? You're going to get the best out of Bobby Portis. It's tough when you don't have the real head of the snake, right? And Damian Lillard is A1 in the playoffs. I understand that. And Indiana does not defend well out on the perimeter. So maybe not the best of matchups, but I think they're going to give them a run for their money. If Giannis comes back in the middle of the series, I could see the Bucks winning that. I don't know. I think that's going to go at least 6 or 7, but I can't really pick one on that. I'm curious.
We assume Boston will be able to take care of whoever wins the game tonight. They seem to be just on this warpath right now, Spencer, to get back. They know the stigma on them. They haven't been able to complete this on out. I think they see, and obviously we know if we advance, we'll have to face them, but Celtics seem like an unstoppable force right now.
Yeah, and kudos to Brad Stevens for going out and getting Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday earning a payday here at the end of the season. Just a terrific defender, but also just a good table setter. And Jaylen Brown's been playing out of his mind too the last month, and we'll see what happens. Jason Tatum's the one that everyone's going to point at, but I feel like the makeup of this team is just really strong. Derek White. You can't say enough about him. The what you get off the bench from Peyton Pritchard. It's a really solid group right now. And I will say this: if Miami would have had Jimmy Butler, say they won tonight, and they would have Jimmy Butler, they would have given them some problems. I think it's easy to say that just because they're the Heat, but until they don't. Who are we to say that they couldn't? Right. I wanted to see Miami, New York, and Philly, Boston, but. It's possible that we see the flip side of that, but I think Miami can still give them at least 5, though.
All right, rapid fire on the West. Phoenix, Minnesota. I got this thing about the Suns, man. I don't know, so I'm going to take Phoenix there. Lakers, Denver. I will take the Nuggets there. Dallas, Clippers. Oklahoma City, again, the winner tonight. You assume it's going to play out. Most intriguing West matchup that you like.
Which is crazy because that's a 1-8. Oklahoma City gets either the Pelicans or the Kings, but the Kings were the 3 seed last year, right? And they're going to come in possibly as an 8 seed if they win this game tonight. So Oklahoma City as a 1, I think will be tested just because of that youth. 2-7. Is that the Minnesota one?
Yeah, Minnesota, Phoenix.
Yeah.
It's got or actually no wait because that would be Lakers, Denver. Lakers, Denver. My fault.
That's
right. Yep.
Yeah. I gotta take the Nuggets in that one, even though that's gonna be an entertaining one because we know that was a Western Conference Finals matchup, and they know each other very well. Phoenix, Minnesota, you bring that up too. Phoenix, a lot of people going in on a ticket with them because of the big 3 that they have.
And they never show up. They never do it, but there's just something that I keep waiting for at Spencer, and eventually it'll pay off. I don't know when.
And Grayson Allen's playing a heck of a year too, and he just earned himself a huge payday. Yeah, no. Give me Phoenix. I hate being on the public pick, but
that's fine.
Minnesota too, a little bit young. That's just on me. And then Dallas and the Clippers.
I think it's the best of any of the series. Spencer,
we see
for
it.
Me, that's
we see it again. This is what, the third time?
Yeah.
Third time. Yeah, which is nuts. And we know what Luka does to this team. I think Dallas has a chance of getting to that conference finals.
Wow.
That if you want to pick like everyone's thinking probably with the Suns and whatever like that, I would say Dallas is that team. I love them going out and getting Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington. Obviously Kyrie Irving's been great this year next to Luka, and they've had some really, really solid victories this year. A couple bad losses, but that happens along the way. But I think addressing that big man problem and getting the shooting down. I love Josh Green too. Yeah, no, I like Dallas a lot this year.
I love it. Spencer, really appreciate your time. Spin Davies on Twitter and IG. Follow him there. Hoop Industry, Cavs Insider for Fan Nation. Really appreciate you, bro. Enjoy the game tomorrow. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Sounds good, Matt. Thanks, man.
There you go. Spencer Davies. A lot of great stuff to react to there. If you missed any of it, go back. Twitter, YouTube, replay that interview. You got some great insight. Ryan, just one more time for the people. Let's get to it. Boost? Yeah, let's go. Guardians. One more time for you. Use that code Fontana100 when you sign up. Deposit and bet $25. Get $100 in bonus bets for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Please use, or if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. 3 legs for tonight. The Naylor brothers. Guardians, just blowout days. I think they're just going to blow them out tonight. Boost it up to over 400 there. Use that code Fontana100 when you sign up with Tipico and get rolling for that. And if anything, some of the picks that Spencer just ran through, I like a few of them right there with our betting with Tipico. And the final thing on a Friday, Ryan.
I'm upset about it.
Why?
Why is French fries winning?
Because there's something about the GOAT French fries at McDonald's.
Look, McDonald's isn't even a top 5 French fry.
That's like they're the GOAT because they're the GOAT.
It's a GOAT because it's a French fry.
Okay, what's the better French fry then?
Wendy's has better French fries.
I do like Wendy's French fries.
I like Chick-fil-A's more the waffle.
Okay.
I like Arby's more the curly fries. I was going to wait
for the Arby's curly fries because they're just different, but they're amazing.
I mean, I can't think right now, but that's at least they're not top 3.
Okay. All right. So be it. I don't see that. I think it works out though. Here's the thing: you're always going to vote fries because there's a mystique about the fries, right? They're there. They might not actually, but when they're fresh, crisp coming out of there,
whatever.
Can't beat it.
Whatever.
Great stuff today. Can't wait for tomorrow. I can't wait for tomorrow. This is gonna be so great. Don't forget, coming up, big play, big bets. So Dave and Nick will have all their predictions for the game tomorrow as well. Get betting with Tipico. We appreciate them very much. Enjoy the hell out of this sports weekend with the Guards, with the Cavs. It's going to be so great. So excited for tomorrow. Enjoy it. And we'll be talking to you on Monday as we get geared up because we play Monday night, right?
Yes, sir.
Back in and on Monday. So it'll be an amazing weekend. Cavs are getting it done. Guards sweeping on out. Appreciate the hell out of it. Enjoy your weekend. For Ryan Tyler, I am Matt Fontana. And as always, take it easy.